The advice given on He Said, She Said are only the opinions of one small Mexican and one skinny Asian. All advice should be used with extreme caution. He Said, She Said will not be held responsible if you ruined your life.
He says this.
She says that. He said, she said.
What?
Hello, viewers. This month we are talking about gender talk based on a conversation that Kung and I had about a conflict I was having, and he didn't understand why, and I said that we were talking about the world of women, and you don't talk girl talk.
Apparently there's girl talk.
And guy talk.
So Danielle, I know that there's a difference. So what's the difference between girl talk and guy talk?
Well, I think that men are socialized to be more economic with their words. So they're very direct and they want to try to speak with as few words as possible. That's what it seems like to me, anyway.
Okay.
Whereas women, we have to process the emotions with what we say. So instead of saying, I'm okay or I had an okay day, there's a range of emotions that we might have experienced in that day. So I'm okay isn't enough. And we have to go through the process. So what you can say in 5 words, I take 5 sentences to say.
Okay, so they have to take the emotional into account and make sure they choose the right words to convey what they feel, whereas men are more blunt and to the point, and they don't feel like dealing with the emotions. Okay.
I think men are allowed to be more blunt too. Like a guy is expected to sort of take charge and not kind of like tiptoe around things. Whereas a girl, she's often like taught to be more submissive or wait to be invited into a conversation. So if I'm having a bad day, I might not feel comfortable saying that just outright. I'm looking for an easy entry point to share. You know?
Gotcha.
Because like I can't just assume that you want to hear what I feel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So Kung, based on what I said to you, what do you think that the difference between girl talk and guy talk impacts the most?
Well, I definitely think it impacts the most when you need support. You know, you're having a bad day and you get home, you don't really have any resources to keep yourself going. It's good to get resources from your significant other, you know.
Okay.
And
So like how does girl talk get in the way of that?
well, I feel like the communication isn't established very well, especially when you don't understand really what your girl is saying, or if you don't understand what your guy is saying. Which brings me to another impact is when you guys get into fights, you know, especially when you have fights where like you don't even know how the fight got started. And it mostly happens with miscommunication. The guy might say something blunt. The girl's all like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. Which also leads me to confusion, you know. A lot of confusion can be prevented if you can understand what your lady's saying, and if your lady can understand what your guy is saying.
So it goes like this. Girl has a bad day and she's kind of mopey on the couch and she's waiting for you to ask that emotion out of her. And you're like, how are you? And she's like, oh, well, you know, I'm okay. Guys think that means I'm okay and that's it. Whereas, no, we're waiting for that invite that I was talking about. There's still 4 more sentences behind that I'm okay. She wants the communication.
Right.
And when she doesn't get it, that's when it's like, oh, well, he doesn't care about me. Now we're in a fight and you don't know why.
Right.
Too bad for you. Okay, so good to be bilingual to avoid fights.
All right, Danielle. I'm getting all confused over here.
Okay.
What language should you use when talking to the opposite sex?
Okay, well, if we talk about this as 2 different languages, I'm a big believer that you should always use your native language because being bilingual is hard and you're going to express yourself the best in the language that you understand and that's authentic and that's personal to you. So always, if you're a girl, speak girl talk. If you're a guy, speak guy talk. But you have to understand that things get lost in translation, and just developing an awareness of that will make your life so much easier. So Kung, how would you recommend learning girl talk if you're a guy, or learning guy talk if you're a girl? Like, if I wanted to know how guys talk and I don't speak in 5 words, how do I figure that out?
I think that spending time with girls really help. I mean, you never want to talk about a girl to a guy because they don't speak the same language. So it's always good to talk about your girl with another girl, or talk about your guy with another guy, because they can relate more, you know? And I think that watching girl chick flicks or guy flicks usually helps too, because they do a good job of conveying that emotion between the two sexes. And I feel like, you know, just going out on a date with a girl or guy would help that too.
So what you're saying is, if I have a question about my guy, I shouldn't be watching chick flicks and hanging out with my girlfriends. I should be putting in an action movie and asking you questions about how guys talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So Danielle, why is all this important?
Well, I was just talking about how awareness is so important, and mainly that's because it's going to prevent problems. Or if problems start to arise and you're in that fight, you don't know why, you can stop the fight and recognize when it's happening. And obviously, anytime you have more knowledge about the way another person talks, you become a better communicator with them. So you're saying what you mean to say instead of saying something that doesn't make sense to them necessarily.
Okay. Yeah.
And, of course, better communication has lots of places to apply it, right? So when you're at work, you can be a better communicator with the opposite sex if you've never had to work with a group other than your own. You know, your family, you can talk to your sisters more. I can talk to my brother better. And in a relationship specifically, anytime a woman's getting better communication, it's going to improve the sex life of the relationship. There's lots of reasons why this is important, I think. So whether it's maybe improving your sex life, or maybe cutting down on the fights, getting closer to a friend, it's just the more languages you know, the more you can speak to more people.
Okay. Awesome. Well, guys, that's all we have for you today.
And I think that it's important to say that, you know, this is one girl and one guy talking about how we talk and what we've experienced. And obviously, there are way more things that go into people talking, like personality, personal experience, cultural things. So don't get all crazy with the gender talk on us. And, you know, when it goes horribly wrong, she said it.